All right.
And we're live.
Boom, boom. Tum, 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 tum. My heart itch. It doesn't go out. I think it's.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Adler podcast. Today is episode number 48. And unfortunately, today I have a bit. Oh, my laptop's playing the song. You can hear it in the background. Today is episode number 48. And unfortunately, today I have a bit of a headache, but we're powering through for the content.
You know,
We are
you
here
know,
dedicated.
you know why you have a headache? Oh,
Why is that, Franco?
2 more episodes till the Empty Man special,
Oh,
and we
shit.
hope that Joe will join us. Joe, at the moment, he told us that Glasgow has a three hour blackout. Apparently, Miriam Daly went to visit. She's also managing the Scottish energy
Energy
infrastructure.
in Scotland. Shit. Mandava
Anyway,
problemi mela.
but we miss Joe. Hopefully, he'll be
Definitely,
back
definitely,
for
definitely,
the Empty Man special. But
definitely.
and also, we're going to be back at the Video Nasties Resurrection.
Yes. Resurrected.
Yes,
On the 12th.
12th of December at Eaton Cinemas. Make sure that you book your tickets to watch some of the shorts made specifically for Video Nasties, this year's Video Nasties, and we'll be leading the Q&A, and hopefully some of you will ask us, what is the Adler podcast all about?
And that would be a very, very smart question to ask because the Adler podcast, very good segue, Franco, is all about movies, all about series, all about video games. This week, we've got a bunch of series to talk about, lots and lots of series. We've got The Curse to talk about, we've got The Crown to talk about, we've got Monarch to talk about. I also have a quick update about lessons in chemistry as well to talk about, Murder at the End of the World. We've also got a movie to review, which is the Hunger Games prequel, Ballad, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. With regard to trailers, not much. With regard to trailers, there was just a trailer for Aquaman, which we can just
And
skim through really, really quickly. Franco.
and Imaginary, the new Blumhouse feature. And by the way, all the people watching us, there's 7 of you watching. Say hello and tell us where you're watching from. Most probably there's Yella. There's also Keith, I
Keith.
believe, Jan as well. And
Always loyal viewers. Great
thank
to
you
have
for
them
th-
here.
thank you for watching us as well. And where did we watch Hunger Games, by the way, Andrea?
I still had some news to mention, but that was a really good segue, damn. That was a really good segue. But before I take Franco's segue, because I had a couple more news to mention. Today we have news on Superman Legacy, because we have a big casting for Superman Legacy with Nicholas Hoult. We'll talk about that role very soon. We've
Okay.
got first images for Nosferatu, a movie I am super excited for. Robert Eggers. Franco, you'll have to talk about this because I still haven't watched it. The Blackening will be apparently getting a sequel.
Oh, okay.
There's also going to be a new Jason Bourne movie, also involving Matt Damon. Creed 4 is officially in the works. And the last bit of news we have to talk about today is apparently breaking news. Dave Filoni will be taking full creative charge at Lucasfilm. So I am excited to talk about that. That is the news I have today.
Would Joe
No,
be
Franco.
excited? Would Joe be excited about
But
Dave
Joe
Filoni
isn't
taking?
here. Joe isn't here.
So you're right. We win the debate.
I win the debate. So,
What
Franco,
about-
that was an amazing segue. That was an amazing segue.
True. Well, let's ask the chat as well about what they think about Dave Filoni taking over the Star Wars. Speaking of the segue,
Definitely.
where did you watch the Hunger Games again?
So, very good. We did watch The Hunger Games at NBC Cinemas, who are also the proud sponsors of the Adler podcast. So, thank you very much to NBC for sponsoring this show. And let's talk a little bit about what movies. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? not going to share it on window. Is it better if I share the tab? I think that's better like that. Yeah, there we go. So thank you very much to Embassy for sponsoring this show. And this week is going to be a big week at Embassy because this is obviously, we're also all excited for Napoleon Week. And I'm very much excited to go watch Napoleon at Embassy. I'm going to be watching it on Friday. You're going on Wednesday, right, Franco?
I'm going tomorrow because I'll be at work. So any of you who's going to be
Tomorrow,
there,
exactly. Ooh,
there's actually
tickets for
there,
Wish as well.
oh yep, there's actually
Nice.
tomorrow there's a special event happening at the embassy to mark the premiere of Napoleon. There's going to be an event held at the Embassy Hotel. So you can want if you want to experience that, go for it.
Yeah,
Book your
yeah,
places
yeah.
now, and I'll
That'll
be
be
seeing you as
tomorrow
well.
evening, right? That'll be tomorrow evening, the
Tomorrow
2025
evening,
show.
exactly.
Yeah.
Tomorrow evening, 7:30, the event starts, and then the
There's
2045
going to
show.
be the pre-party at 7:30, right? Let me check if there are any tickets.
Exactly.
Out of curiosity. Oh, ooh, wow,
Ooh,
one ticket. Oh my God!
just
If
the
you
one,
want that
guys.
one ticket, oh, it's actually not a bad seat. To be fair, it's one
No,
of the
it's
better
very.
seats.
That's my favorite seat, actually.
So if you want to go to Napoleon, literally have one seat, one seat. I'm going to go watch it on Friday. If you want, so if you want to meet me, I'm going to be there with my friends on Friday. In the meantime, apart from Napoleon, like I said, there is also Wish, which I had no idea Wish was going to be showing this week, which is good news because I wanted to go watch Wish as well. So that'll probably be a weekend watch for me. Either weekend or else next month, the Monday after, Monday 27th. Monday 27th, maybe I'll go watch it on Monday.
27. No.
Um,
That week is Thanksgiving week.
yes, and there's Thanksgiving as well. So let's have a look at the other movies showing this week at Embassy. So we've got, if anyone is a fan of Beyonce, we've got, this is a concert film, Franco. I don't know if you
Yeah,
know this.
it looks like a concert film documentary.
World tour from its inception to the
The-
opening in Stockholm, Sweden, to the finale in Kansas City, Missouri. It's about Beyonce's intention, hard work, involvement in every aspect of production, creative mind and purpose to create her legacy and master her craft.
any bees in the crowd, just like go have a look at it.
By the way,
Uh,
Yella is live from London. It's not raining this time, but she is at work. So buon lavoro, Yella. And glad,
damn! Ah,
glad
damn!
to be offering some kind of entertainment as you work hard, as I know you very much do. So that is a Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. We've got, obviously, like we said, Napoleon, big week for cinemas. I hope Napoleon does very well in the box office because give me historical epics over the superhero slog we've been getting recently any day. And I really miss, Franco, the early 2000s when we had that like massive amount of superhero of like sword and sandals movies with
Oh, lol.
Troy, Gladiator, Kingdom of
Yeah.
Heaven. Remember, there was this period of time where it was just historical epics after the success of Gladiator.
You remember there was also Pompeii, Gods and Kings.
Gods and
Uh,
Kings.
Oof,
Up to the
yes.
early 2010s, kind of.
Yes,
That's
yes,
that's
yes.
pretty much it. We have Wish, like I said, which is going to be showing at Embassy. Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I'm excited to review today. We've got the Marvels. We've got some news about the Marvels coming very soon, especially about the box office. Marvels. I mean, like I said in my review, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's one which is fun to watch with your family, but obviously it has many issues. Five Nights at Freddy's, which is definitely one for fans of the video game. Five Nights at
S-
Freddy's.
Still going strong, apparently.
Retribution still showing at Embassy, meaning that people are still going to watch it at Embassy because I
Yes,
mean,
my review from my father, by the way. Retribution is a good action here, obviously
okay.
with Liam Neeson in the lead. But again, this is a remake of a Korean movie called Hearted, which is also a remake of a Spanish movie called Retribution.
Sheesh.
So,
Trolls Band Together, which we're going to be talking about in the news later on as well. This is, we need to put more respect on these kinds of animated movies because Trolls Band Together actually made 30 million in this box office in America,
but
just in America.
it's apparently it's in the same boat as Marvels. It didn't go out it didn't do well as it was expected.
Some, that 30 million for a Trolls movie, I think is very good. No. Wouldn't you say?
30
With Hunger Games competing with it. I don't forget. As well.
domestic, you're saying?
Domestic, domestic.
As always, Andrea, the number cruncher.
But that we'll talk about later on. We've got The Exorcist Believer, which it's with its last showing today, so I think you're a bit too late to go watch it. And the last showing also today for A Haunting in Venice. So thank you very much to Embassy for sponsoring the show, for being our very gracious sponsors. Thank you very much, Embassy. Franco, shall we get into it? What have you been up to this week?
So I finished reading Three Body Problem. I highly recommend it. The book by, excuse me for all of our Chinese listeners or viewers, by Xijin Liu. I've read the book in advance of the series, of the Netflix series. Very solid book. There is a bit of theoretical physics going on and astrophysics, so that might lose some people, but there's also some elements of cosmic sci-fi horror, which was very interesting. I really enjoyed the book, and I leapt it up. Then I've watched The Curse. I've watched Murder at the End of the World, catching up with the third episode today. What else? Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, I've watched as well.
Let's get into the series, Franco. Might as well get into them now. Let's start off with The Curse. What do you think about The Curse, first of all?
I was totally surprised by the audience reaction on Rotten Tomatoes. So The Curse is very highly rated by the critics at over 90%, but audience rating is 29%, and I have no idea why. I mean, this is right up my alley. Maybe people are expecting something like in the realm of Nathan For You or The Rehearsal. Who knows? But I think so far, I don't know where the series is going, which is a good thing for me. It's like it's unpredictable. Lots of uncomfortable scenarios.
So uncomfortable, man. So awkward. I think one of the most awkward series I've ever watched.
Yeah, and I think it's part of why the people are hating it. But I see the point in it. Actually, I see the whole point in it. Are you hating the awkwardness in it?
No, I'm actually quite enjoying it. I like when things get awkward. I mean, not when it's a personal thing where I'm feeling awkward, obviously, but when I see people being very awkward, I find it quite funny. So I get the humor a lot in this. There's obviously a lot of dark humor in this, which I mean, I'm never like full blast laughing whilst watching this, but I'm constantly smiling whilst I'm watching it. I see a lot of social commentary as well, which is very good. Very good social commentary.
There's some heart as well. Benny Sabdi's story in the second episode,
yes,
was quite heartfelt, I felt. I mean, so far I'm enjoying it. I don't know why the audience is reacting so violently against it. Maybe it's not 90%. Maybe it is an 8.
There are lots of ones, yes. Look at the ratings, Franco. They should be on your screen.
Yeah.
Lots of ones, a few 2s, 3s, and then 10s. Like, it's very polarizing, as we can tell.
Could be. And Joe said it well. To quote Joe said that this is a series who people would know, like Nathan Fielder's brand of humor, would get it immediately.
By the way, very A24 vibes. I have to put it out there. Very A24 vibes. For me, this is right up my alley. I mean, it's the kind of series that really catches my attention. Whenever you have this like very smart social commentary and political commentary, the way it tackles reality TV, the way it tackles like the social and cultural divide, even just that, you can tell when Emma Stone's character, that awkwardness of trying to fit in and trying to be as politically correct as you can.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, we've all been there. Let's be perfectly honest. We've all been there.
Yeah, the liberal.
We've all been there somehow, trying to like fit in and being as politically correct as you can, but at the same time feeling, oh my God, this is really stupid. In your head, you're thinking this is really stupid. But at the same time, you can't say it because, I mean, again, you have to be polite, right? So those kinds of situations, I find them extremely, extremely entertaining to watch. So if you like that kind of stuff, The Curse is very good for you. So overall, yeah, Franco, I'm just like you. I'm really enjoying my time watching The Curse.
Yep.
What's next? You mentioned Murder at the End of the World. or Monarch?
Or Monarch. I
Yeah,
mean, well, you decide. You decide.
go ahead with Monarch.
Monarch so far, it's enjoyable. It's like an. I have to comment. The CGI sometimes works. Sometimes is a bit like the first chase scene with John Goodman running away from the giant spider. I'm like, that's what that looked really bad. And then another,
The dragon I really liked, Istra.
yeah, the dragon. Even this the scene
The
where
Godzilla scene was, oh my god, that was spectacular.
yeah, like that looked fine. And so far, I think out of all Godzilla series, the characters are fine. Usually, the characters are the weakest point in the series, but this is still there's some issues. I feel like,
Uh-huh.
but go for
It's
it.
an Apple TV productions, and you can tell there's the like Apple TV sheen to it, like the production design and the production quality and the CGI generally for Apple TV shows are of a higher caliber, in my opinion, than most other series because obviously they've got a bigger budget. They can throw money at stuff freely. Like they've got very, very deep pockets. And you can tell with this is the kind of series that needed a very, very big budget. And you can tell there's a big budget for this series. What about the characters, Franco? What did you think about the characters so far? Because there's a big focus, right, on humans, and generally
I,
that's a complaint with these kinds of things.
I'm enjoying the chemistry more with Randa, Keiko, and what Lee, the young Lee. They have a
Aha,
bit more
agreed,
chemistry,
agreed. That's the
and
sergeant, right? The sergeant,
yes.
and yeah, that's my favorite part as well. Kate, Kate. No,
No,
not Kate.
Keiko,
Lee. Wyatt Russell was the
Lee,
younger.
Bill Randa,
Belranda.
and Doctor Keiko.
Exactly. Agreed. That's me too. Dr. Keiko, exactly, because I don't remember the names of the characters. Agreed. I think the younger actors, they're not really doing it for me. The younger actors.
So far, because now in the second episode we had old Lee introduced, so we see what that will
Obviously,
do
yeah,
to the
I'm
chemistry.
sure Kurt Russell in the mix should improve things definitely.
Yeah, even
I'm really impressed by his son Wyatt Russell. He's
White.
good, Astra. He's good.
Yeah,
Huh?
I was gonna say like I really liked his like, oh my god, it is a dragon. In the second, like it felt so genuine, that reaction, like you
Hmm.
know.
And adding some nuance to his character as well, because at first it seemed like he's going to be a hoorah army guy,
No,
but
no.
there's a bit more nuance to his character than just the hoorah element. I think there's a bit of a love triangle going on there as well. Don't I
Looks
felt
looks like it. Yes, looks like it. I
so that's an
wish,
interesting twist.
hopefully, because I usually go for these kind of things for the monsters. I wish they'll show a bit more of monsters. You know what? Actually, to be honest, with Kate's character, it's a really good portrayal of PTSD.
Yes. I think I would say that was my favorite part, apart from obviously showcasing the Godzilla scene, which in my opinion was spectacular. That was not a scene I was expecting to see in this series
And
because it
what's
was wow.
That's
Wow.
true, and it's funny enough. It's very not funny enough. I mean, it's very grounded. Like
Hmm.
with the PTSD, the tragedy of it was like you forget like lives were lost,
Yeah,
and
yeah. The
and
camera angle helps a lot, and that in that scene, the
yes,
camera
yes,
angle making Godzilla seem enormous, and you see those kids in
and
the
the
in the
bus.
bus. I mean, it makes the humans feel really tiny and Godzilla feel, I mean, as it should be,
Yeah,
enormous.
yeah.
I hope we get to see more of that. By the way, Franco, the 2014 Godzilla, did you watch that?
Yes, the
Because
what was
I think I haven't watched it yet. Now that
Ki-
I think about it.
King of Monsters.
No, just I think was it King of Monsters, the 2014 one. I know. God,
So there was Godzilla King of Monsters.
2014, this one, Aaron Taylor Johnson,
With
this one.
the yeah, I enjoyed it, and plus the intro. It took a bit. It took its time to introduce the monster, but
Mhm.
I think I saw it in the cinemas. This one, but
I don't
when
think I've watched it, Istra.
Ilalo, there's the the drop scene and the introduction of Godzilla were goosebumps. Like I had goosebumps. Who directed it? Gareth
Gareth
Edwards.
Edwards, yeah, he does good with visuals. So Gareth Edwards, very, very good visual director.
Go for it, but be ready. There's going to be a twist that maybe you won't be happy
Okay,
much.
I feel like I need to watch Godzilla to appreciate Monarch a bit more. That's like the vibe I get, and I need to watch also this week. I'll get onto the MonsterVerse, the Kong one, Skull Island. That's
Skull
another
Island.
one I need to get onto as well.
There was Kong Skull Island, and then there another. No, there was.
I think that's pretty much it because I was looking at the list. Those are the two I'm missing: Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island.
And there's
Those are the ones
also
I'm missing.
there's also King of Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, that one. Those I watched. Those I watched. Those I watched. You know, I wasn't a big fan of Godzilla versus Kong.
No way.
Yeah, I think I need to rewatch it again. I don't think I was in the right mood for it. That was COVID, right? Yeah, that was COVID.
Yeah.
When
I
it
mean,
came out.
I really enjoyed the Hong Kong scene. Yeah, that was really.
I need to watch it on my television now with my sound system because I watched it on a like a normal TV with a weak sound system. So maybe if I watch it on my television this week will be the MonsterVerse week.
No, it's
I'll
gonna
just-
definitely gonna make a difference. Plus, what was it? I forgot what I was going to say.
Anyways, shall we
yeah,
get into the
yeah,
next series,
let's-
Lucas? Franco.
Yep.
We also have A Murder at the End of the World. So today, the third episode came out. Unfortunately, because of my headache, I couldn't watch it. And I just...
Or
now I'm feeling a bit better, thankfully.
as I like to call it, meow, because this is a mouthful of a title. MEOW, meow. That's it.
What do you think so far, Franco?
Enjoying it. I don't know where it's going to go.
Not
Great,
a clue.
great scenario. Especially you were right about how visually it's
Visually arresting, yes. So this is the whole setting, like the hotel and Iceland in general. I mean, Iceland is always a stunning place to shoot.
Always,
let's be honest. Although, to be fair, I don't know if this was actually shot in Iceland, but let's just say visually the backdrop here is stunning. The scenery is
amazing.
stunning. And the hotel itself is impressive, Astra. I love these like modern hotels in movies. They make such great visuals.
If I'm honest, I there was a bit of a contrived bit where they're like, some like a murder happens and people say, "Oh no, let's continue." It's like, huh? It's like really, it's like no one is. I don't know if it's like have we become so desensitized to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Isn't that the whole point, though? Because these are like super ultra rich people who are completely cut off from the reality of the normal person, and that like a murder for them is like, oh, how fun! It's a murder mystery.
Yeah,
For them, they're like so cut off from the world. They feel almost like they can't be touched.
no, I mean, even Emma's correct. Darby's correct is like.
Darby.
It's like, guys, this shit happens. Like, oh no, because this retreat is too important. We're on the brink of something. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but a bit contrived. I would have felt that some people would be more humane. Who knows? Maybe that's the point, like you're saying, that their humanity is like diminished now that they reached a powerful position.
I think that's the whole point. But yeah, it could be. There's as you're saying as well. Maybe it's a bit contrived as well. I would say it's done on purpose. Like it's the whole point of it.
No,
That
for
like
sure,
these
for sure.
ultra rich people are not. Are not grounded at all. They're like completely aloof from the whole situation.
However, you were right about Emma Corrin. Emma Corrin is really good in this.
So good, man. She's so. I have yet to watch her in something and not think she's like the best part of it.
Even Harris Dickinson. I'm liking Harris Dickinson.
Yes. Very much so.
But by the way, Andrea, I spent the best month going tip 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 tip. And then I listen. I go to the first episode and I listen to the song and I burst out laughing. It's a good song though. Annie Lennox.
Very good soundtrack as well.
Yes.
Very good soundtrack.
Annie Lennox.
So overall,
No More I Love Yous. Yeah.
No more. I love you. Yeah.
No more I love yous.
So overall, I think I'm very intrigued, like you, with what's going to happen. I have absolutely no idea where this is going. No idea. Do you have any idea who it could be, Franco?
No, no, none so far. However, have you watched The Away? I haven't watched The Away myself.
No, no, no. Nope.
But again, Britt Marling and Zal, I cannot see his name. Mangils.
Batmanglish.
Banglish.
Batmanglish. Yeah. So another very good series. And a lot of we're getting spoiled there here. A very good series. I think that's it, right, with regard to series, Franco?
Yep.
Anything else you wanted to mention?
No, maybe the people watching us can mention some good series that you've watched.
Definitely. Let us know in the comment section below, guys. What have you been up to? What have you been watching? In my case, I just wanted to give a quick mention to a series I've continued to watch. I've been having a lot of fun watching it. We're going to be talking about Brie Larson later on as well. But this is a good Brie Larson production because she is so good in this. She's going to get an Emmy for this, definitely. She's definitely getting an Emmy, at least an Emmy nomination for this series because her performance in this is so good. Both her and Louis Pullman, oh my God, they are so good. The chemistry between them is amazing. Like, is absolutely amazing. Something happens at the end of the second episode, and I was really upset about some. I can't specify what it is because it's a big spoiler. It's a big plot point, so I can't mention it in case people here haven't started lessons in chemistry so far. But I was so glad the way they've tackled the series has been really good. There have been episodes where I laughed out loud constantly. The last episode had us in tears, literally. It was such an emotional episode, really powerful episode. I'm curious what rating it was. 8.3. So, I mean, you can tell people are loving this as well. Like I found this so emotional in the Book of Calvin, this episode.
True.
And very smart, very smart episode as well. Very smart episode as well. There's this debate between like science and religion, which is tackled in a really smart, really emotional way. So it's not just like a smart series. It is a smart series. The writing is very smart, but it's also extremely emotional as well. And Brie Larson really pulls it off, man. Watching her in as Captain Marvel, you completely forget what a great actress she is, man. You really forget about what a great actress she is. But then watching her in Lessons in Chemistry, I'm like, okay. This is a really talented actress who's just being wasted on that rubbish.
Another Apple TV stronghold here.
Yes.
Apple TV.
Apple TV, man, they just cannot miss. They cannot miss.
Yella.
Their quality control is so good.
Yella's right. Scott Pilgrim takes off. There's also Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Yes. Unfortunately, have you started it, Franco?
No, not yet, and not even Blue Eyed Samurai. And I'm looking forward to watch Blue Eyed Samurai.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Blue Eyed Samurai in a little bit. Yeah, I haven't started Scott Pilgrim so far. I'm really excited to watch it. I've heard, yes, just like you mentioned, a lot of people have been saying it's gone into a direction that no one was expecting. Most reactions have been positive. I've seen some negative reactions as well to it. Mostly focusing on the character of Scott Pilgrim and the lack of attention that character got. I don't know. I just saw some stuff on Twitter. That's it. I haven't watched it, so I can't comment about it.
And Keith mentioned Rustin.
Keith, that's because I saw it on Netflix. Is that a documentary or a movie? I'm definitely going to check it out. I wanted to check it out. Unfortunately, these 2 days, I have not been feeling too well. So I was planning to actually watch Rustin today, right after work. But I had to get into bed because I was going to die. My head was hurting me so much. And is that a movie, Keith, or a documentary? Because I was confused whether it's a movie or a documentary. But I know it's on Netflix, and it looks very good. It looks very interesting. I'll definitely be checking it out this week, and probably giving you a review next week. So that's Lessons in Chemistry. Very good series. Definitely check it out. Highly recommended. I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, I watched The Crown, which we'll review later on.
And this is a good segue into the Marvels.
One last thing, because I want to talk about it this week. It's a movie. All right, Keith, interesting. I'll definitely check it out. Blue Eye Samurai, which I have to say is one of my favorite things I've watched this year. Absolute quality. Like the animation quality for Blue Eye Samurai. The character development which takes place is insane. Like, this is how you should make a series. This is how you develop a character through 8 episodes. The animation quality, the fight scenes are breathtaking. The characters are fascinating, fun to watch. Writing is great. Um, there's one thing I wish that there was about this series, and I think a lot of people won't like this because I know in America, obviously, people don't like foreign language movies. But I wish this was in Japanese, man. I wish this was voice acted in Japanese because I feel like it's. I mean, listen, obviously, it's easier to watch in English, but the gravitas that certain Japanese voice actors bring to their characters is second to none.
Chef's
Second to
kiss.
none. Chef's kiss indeed. Chef's kiss indeed.
Nani?
Um, so I mean, definitely, if you're any kind of fan of Japanese history, samurai, anime, check this out. It is so good. The mixture of 3D and 2D, the colors used, everything about it. And the final episode was breathtaking. Like, I was, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, no! Constantly, like completely like this is really good stuff. And I'm looking forward now to a season 2 because it does definitely strongly hint that there will definitely be a season 2 of Blue Eye Samurai.
And by the way, I saw, for people who know Nerd Writer, the YouTube channel, he speaks about a series, also an animated series called Scavenger's Reign, and it looks fantastic as well. If you want to have a look quickly, I want to check it out as well.
What, Nerd Writer?
No, that's the YouTube channel, but the animated series is called Scavenger's Reign. Reign.
Rain. Okay. Here it comes. So it's on YouTube, right?
No, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but this is
Max
it's
Original,
on Max Original. But it's also highly rated
right.
here. But
What's right? 0.9. Nice.
I mean,
Okay.
Nerd's Writer was speaking how lived in this is alien world looks like, and it's totally like unpredictable. Like it's all he made the comparison with Herzog and Herzog's portrayal of nature in a
Okay.
true.
That
Looks
wow.
like it's set in a Mobius comic.
Nice. Yeah, nice. This looks really good, Asra. Definitely want to check it out. Yeah. Oh, looks a bit gritty as well.
True, you know.
Okay.
Oh, very gritty. Yep.
Good call out, Asra. Nice. All right. So that is pretty much our week. Let us know, guys, in the comment section below. Anything else you've been up to? What you've been watching? Movies and series. We're always interested for suggestions. I think, Franco, we can get into, like you said, the news. Really quickly. Just going to mention this. We don't really need to get into this. I don't have much to say about it. To be honest, I'm not excited at all to talk about it and to watch it. I'll go watch it because obviously that is our duty as movie podcasters. But Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, we have a new trailer for it, which continues to like give us a better idea of what the focus of the movie is going to be about. Obviously, Aquaman being a dad is going to be apparently a big focus on that. I mean, Franco, I don't know if you want to add anything about Aquaman. Are you interested in going to watch it?
I haven't seen the first one. Seems fun, and again, like it seems like there's a bit of horror in it. Then again, it's James Wan. Nicole Kidman looks very strange in this text, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Patrick Wilson as well. What's his name? Illa هو Abdul Mateen, that right?
Abdul Mateen. He's a fantastic actor, man. He's a fantastic actor. There he was in this movie, The Case of the Seven. Oh my God.
Trial
of the Chicago 7. He's so good in that role, Astra. He's so good in that role.
That role, even in Watchmen, he was amazing in Watchmen.
Watchmen, yes. He's a great actor. So I wish he could be in more dramatic roles, not on this.
True.
I mean, obviously, in these kinds of movies, there's so many, like, so much CGI going on. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see, like, to gauge, like, a great performer.
I saw the trailer on in the cinema. It looks quite decent. Very colorful.
Very
So
colorful. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe I'll
it's
check it
nice to see a
out.
bit of color.
Maybe I'll
Uh-huh.
check it out. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen the first Aquaman. But it seems it's gone well. It's gone. The first one has gone down well with audiences.
Talking about headaches, oh my god, the last half hour of that movie is a clusterfuck. Clusterfuck, but I think a lot of people enjoy, to be fair, to be honest with you. I don't like it when you have like thousands of soldiers, CGI soldiers fighting with each other, and sometimes it loses me. Like the final battle of the Hobbit. Sometimes those kinds of scenes lose me. And contrasting that with, for example, the battles in Lord of the Rings, where everything feels very grounded and very real, where everything is super clear, the action is really clear. But like the action in the first Aquaman, especially the last half hour, I was, what the hell is
What's
going
going
on?
on? Hopefully,
Too much was going on.
apparently even Napoleon should it's very grounded. Like
Yes.
he used almost 7 cameras to shoot the battle scene. So
But Ridley Scott, come on. I mean, Ridley Scott and battle scenes, they're a match made in heaven, right?
yeah, Mela.
Moving on. So that's basically the only trailer we had this week. We didn't have too many trailers to talk about, but we have some news to talk about. And to start off, we're going to start off with the first news piece of the week, which is, first of all, we need to talk about the Hunger Games, which lands on top with 44 million domestically, 98 million, I believe, worldwide, which I think for a movie like Hunger Games, which is a prequel in a very busy week, although like this article says, open slightly behind expectations, I think is still a decent result. So those initial ticket sales didn't recapture the spark of the original franchise, which propelled Jennifer Lawrence to global stardom and inspired 3 sequels, but they were enough to win the weekend over 3 fellow newcomers. Because, like I said before, we had Trolls Band Together, we had Thanksgiving, Next Goal wins, and still competing, obviously, with the Marvels. Talking about the Marvels continues to break records, negative records, because this week the Marvels cratered by 78%. Now, the worst second week drop was Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which was, I believe, 69. There we go, yeah. 69.9%. The Marvels broke that record by a lot because it cratered by 78%, meaning that the Marvels in its second week tied third place with 10.2 million, meaning that probably its domestic tally is not even going to reach 100 million. Keeping in mind that the budget for that movie was over 300 million. Also, to show you the absolute disaster for the Marvels, the whole domestic tally for the Marvels is not even going to reach Captain Marvel's first
Not
domestic
on that.
week. Whole domestic run is not going to reach its first week. That is insane. Like it's shaping up to be the first MCU movie to fall short of 100 million at the domestic box office. Worldwide, 220 million. It's this absolute disaster. Absolute disaster.
Um,
Um, Franco, you want to add anything to that?
no, one of the funniest things about this whole drama was Hideo Kojima's Twitter tweet about the killer and the tweet about the Marvels. But another tweet that caught my attention is Stephen King, and Stephen King is right. I think part of this whole Marvel thing, there's a bit of misogyny as well in it. Even the first Marvel, despite the first Marvel, Captain Marvel not being a great movie. Only, I mean, there was not the problem again. The problem is not having a strong female character. The problem is not having a coherent product, story wise,
So, Franco,
CGI.
because you mentioned this is the Hideo Kojima reviews, right?
Yeah,
So on the left, you can see his review for The Killer. Like he goes into detail, tackles the themes, tackles the visuals, tackles the ideas behind it. Highly recommended. And then on the right, so the Marvels on IMAX
next
3D.
3D. That's it.
Oh, so good. So good. And you need to check out Hideo Kojima's review for Blue Eye Samurai. He's loving that shit, man.
It's true.
He is loving that shit. You can tell he's having a blast watching it because he's like just like with the killer, he goes into like the themes of Blue Eye Samurai, going into like how much he loves the visuals and how much he's having a good time watching it. And then I always find it entertaining when he's like, "So the Marvels on IMAX 3D," and
And
that's it.
that's it. I mean, I'm not gonna. Again, I'm not interested. Like, which is just say more. Like we've both agreed that Loki season 2 was a very worthwhile watch, enjoyable, and with lots of heart. It's the direction that they should go. I, I am worried. I am worried that it's despite them trying to hit a quota of like. Yes, look how diverse, how whenever there's some kind of diversity involved, it's like they're making it a point for it to bomb. This is like Nia da Costa, lots of reshoots. There was another one with Morbius. Morbius was also directed by a Latin ex, if I'm not mistaken, and this also didn't do well. And speaking of MCU, apparently they're trying to force Spider-Man into the Venomverse. I'm
That's the
pleased.
Sony thing, though. That's a separate thing. That's the Sonyverse kind of. So although they're kind of linked with Spider-Man, this next year, by the way, is going to be a big year for Sony. I wanted to mention this because next year, the only Marvel thing that is going to release is Deadpool 3. To 2020, we're talking about 2024, obviously. DC as well. There's not going to be too many DC things coming out next year, but Sony have a lot of stuff coming out. Craven, we've got. We talked about it last week. Madonna, Madam Web. So they've got a lot of stuff. Sony coming out next year. So it's going to be an interesting year and see how that develops. But yes, with the Marvel stuff, we need a break, right, Franco? And I think next year is going to be a good break. To be fair, from all the Marvel stuff.
Hopefully, even
Deadpool.
Even
it's a separate thing.
Even 5G. Apparently, 5G is like, okay, I think we have to like reconsider our options. But speaking of DC, you said that you have an important casting news.
Very important casting news, and I'm curious to see what you think about this casting, Franco, because I've seen a lot of positive reactions to it. I love this actor. Can I just say, I think Nicholas Hoult right now is one of the best actors plying their trade right now in Hollywood. But I don't know if I can see. I don't know if I can see it, Astra. So basically, Superman Legacy casts Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, who will be joining David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan in the new DCU movie from James Gunn. We know obviously that Nicholas Hoult was also in the running for the Superman role. It was between him and David Corenswet. And instead, he's taking the Lex Luthor role. Nicholas Hoult has just been casted as Lex Luthor in James Gunn's Superman Legacy, according to Deadline. David Corenswet had been previously cast as a Man of Steel, and now we know who will step into the shoes of his greatest enemy. Superman and the villain will meet when the movie flies into theaters in the summer of 2025 as part of Gunn and Peter Safran's new DC universe. After decades of clashing across comic books, video games, television, and previous movie adaptations, Lex Luthor and one of the world's greatest superheroes are set to cross paths once more. Do you see it, Franco? Do you see Lex Luthor there?
No, not really. We'll see. I mean, he's a great actor, like you said, like solid actor, solid roles. Do I see it? I don't know. We should put him in an AI image generator and see like how he looks in.
The thing with Nicholas Hoult, he's such a good, goofy, unlikable character. Like in The Menu, like in that series he was in as well. What was that series he was in? Nicholas Hoult.
My God. Catherine. Yeah.
He was in The Favorite as well.
The Favorite,
like, he's always like that goofy, unlikable character. Even in Renfield, for example, again, goofy, very goofy role. The Great. Yeah. Again, quite a goofy role. But again, he is a fantastic actor. So I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not worried that Nicholas Hoult can't pull it off. I mean, shave his hair. He's got the acting chops to pull off like a very, very intimidating role. Did you watch Tolkien? By the way, Franco, had you watched his Tolkien?
No, I haven't watched.
He was in Tolkien.
That was a movie, right?
Yes. I remember it was in the cinemas, but I never checked it out. So I need to watch that. I've been meaning to watch it for a very long time. It's been on my list.
Yeah, I really
Shame on me.
no, I'm really like when it's a run of the mill biopic, I tend to like be discouraged to watch it. I've
Hmm.
like I think one of the best biopics I've seen is Paul Dano and John Cusack as one of the not Bee Gees of Illallo. Um, one of the Beach Boys.
Hmm.
I forgot. Let me find quickly the biopic of the Beach Boys with.
In the meantime, just to let our viewers and listeners know, Superman Legacy is currently scheduled to hit theaters on July 11th, 2025. It'll be interesting to see if they stick to that date, obviously, due to the whole SAG-AFTRA strike and whatnot. Um, Again, as we're saying, Nicholas Holt, do we see him as Lex Luthor? Not really. At first glance, I don't really see Lex Luthor there, but talented actor. I'm pretty confident he can pull it off. Talking about Nicholas Holt, another movie he's going to be starring in is Nosferatu. Franco, we've got our first Nosferatu image. This is a movie I am dying to watch. Probably I'd put him my favorite director, playing straight right now in Hollywood, Robert Eggers. Such a talented director. He's, I always say, he's the kind of director who makes movies just for me. He knows what I like, and he's always like, okay, so what would Andrea like to watch next? Nosferatu. Give him a good horror. So we've got obviously Bill Skarsgård, who's ready to haunt audiences with the first image from Robert Eggers' next film, Nosferatu, which has been released via Empire magazine. And the first look at the upcoming gothic horror movie, Ellen Hutter, who's obviously Lily Rose Depp, looks shocked by an encounter with the monster that continues to stalk her. Unlike previous versions of the story, Eggers' adaptation is expected to focus primarily on Hutter and her perspective while being chased around by the vampire. While she can count on some help from those around her, Count Orlok is a very powerful threat to face. Depp will be joined by, like I said, Nicholas Holt and Aaron Taylor Johnson in the cast of
Mhm.
Eggers' iteration of the 1922 German classic of the same name. And this, no, this is the image we have with Lily Rose Depp over there. I mean, obviously we know Robert Eggers can do horror very well. We've seen The Witch, we've seen The Lighthouse, which is part horror. Uh, I mean, I just give us more. Give us more.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
waiting for the trailer now. I'm waiting for the trailer now. Really excited to see the trailer.
Looks like he's going to go now more into the silent era style of movie making, especially with that almost blue cyan look on this still. And by the way, the movie I was speaking about before, the biopic Love and Mercy of Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys. But back to Nosferatu. Yeah, give us more. I mean, this is looks interesting. I like the shadow play and how it is. I mean, we're in safe hands. Bill Skarsgård, Robert Eggers. Is it a marriage made in heaven? Who knows?
I'm quite convinced this is going to be another successful outing for Robert Eggers. Like The Witch remains solidly in my top 10 movies of all time. Solidly in my top 10 movies of all time. The Lighthouse, again, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Northman.
The Northman was absolutely spectacular. I wouldn't say it's in my like top like 10, 20 movies ever, but still a I mean, a spectacular outing for him. I just wish it made more money at the box office. And
True. No,
I
no.
just wish it
That
made more money.
that was one of a kind movie. This is not. Who knows when it's going to happen again?
Yep. But just like the production design on that and the kind of detail they went in with that movie, like even just like the work they went in to create the shields. I read about the wood they used. They would use like the actual wood they used back in the days of the Vikings to create the shields and to create the hearts and whatnot. Like the soundtrack was created with instruments used back in the time of the Vikings. Like that kind of historical detail just oh, makes me so excited. Like, and that's why I say I think he kind of tries to make movies for me.
I was thinking like at first I was going to say imagine Robert Eggers directed Napoleon, but I said what if Robert Eggers directed a Great Siege movie?
Ooh, holy shit!
Can
I
you
think that
imagine?
can work.
Hey,
We
Johan.
should send a
Hey,
suggestion.
Johan. Hey, Johan.
We should send a suggestion.
Robert Eggers or Great Siege. Can you imagine?
We really should send that suggestion. Yes, that's a very
like
smart. That's a
like
very smart
and
suggestion.
the pitch for him is like one of the scenes was the the Turks beheaded their prisoners of war and crucified them and then sent them onto the sea and as a retaliation the knights beheaded their prisoners of war and shot them through the cannonball. So and it's like I'm sold. Eggers will be like I'm sold. I'm gonna do that.
Definitely, definitely. Moving on, Franco, you can talk about this because I haven't watched the first one yet so far, but we have news about a Blackening sequel in the works with Dwayne Perkins, Tracy Oliver, and E. Brian Dobbins. And this is a variety exclusive. MRC and Lionsgate are developing a sequel to The Blackening, the hit horror comedy from Dwayne Perkins and Tracy Oliver. After the micro-budget production, just 55 million, made more than
Mike
18 million.
micro budget. I mean, considering the Marvels with 200 million, yeah, it is a micro budget.
Exactly. In context of Hollywood, of course.
Yes.
At the box office, producer MRC and domestic distributor Lionsgate have entered into talks with Perkins, Oliver, and producer E. Brian Dobbins to develop a follow-up film. So, The Blackening, which obviously followed a group of college friends who reunite for Juneteenth weekend and are hunted by a killer who asks them to determine who is the blackest among them, lampooning the common horror movie trope that sees the black character die first. What do you think, Franco? Would you be looking forward to a Blackening too?
With a better budget, yes. Most probably, I think the budget was felt. It was an enjoyable watch, like light. Um, uh, Make some points too as well. Use like certain. You see that like African American society is not a monolith. That's for sure. Like one of the characters, one of the gags in this movie is that one of them voted for Trump, and everyone goes like, ah, Or it's like also like he's an Android user. Sorry, Android users. I'm an Android user as well.
I'm an Android user.
But apparently, iPhone master race basically.
All right, so that is The Blackening. Moving on now to a news that really, really, really piqued my interest because I grew up watching all the different Jason Bourne movies. And oh man, I mean, I know, do we really need a new Jason Bourne movie? But I need a new Jason Bourne movie. Because the director, right, the filmmaker really caught my attention. Edward Berger, who made one of my favorite movies from last year, or Quiet on the Western Front. Such a fantastic remake of the original and obviously adaptation of the book. Super gritty movie, great. I mean, I say great action. I mean, the whole point of the movie is not for it to be obviously an action movie, but it's portraying the horrors of war. But through portraying the horrors of war, the way it was done visually was absolutely mind blowing. Like with not a very big budget, but still portrayed so spectacularly. Felt like a 150 million budget movie watching it. But yes, All Quiet on the Western Front filmmaker Edward Berger is in talks to direct a new Jason Bourne movie, which is at works at Universal. The new movie would be the latest installment in the blockbuster franchise, which has tallied 5 films, 4 of which starred Matt Damon, and more than $1.6 million at the box office. Now, Franco, are you like me? Did you grow up watching the Bourne movies and going to the cinema? I love the soundtrack
Oh
so much.
baby, with the Moby song.
The Moby soundtrack,
There's
yeah.
a part. I watched only the first 3. I didn't watch the one with uh, Jeremy Renner, and the latest one, like the 2016 Jason Bourne. I didn't watch it. Um, who knows? Again, it feels like this feels like Marvel going back to Robert Downey Jr. As Iron Man. I mean, again, another franchise should be have another franchise. To be honest,
Obviously, with the Bourne, there's I don't know if obviously growing up watching the Bourne movies, Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne Legacy, Bourne Supremacy, like I was always waiting for there to be announcement for the next Bourne movie. We would always go watch those at the cinema. My dad is a big fan. I'm a big fan as well. Um, is there that demand for another Bourne movie again? I don't know. I'll go watch it because again, I love Matt Damon. And one of the big reasons why I love Matt Damon so much is because I'm such a big fan of
Matt
the Bourne movies, of course.
Damon. So it's
I think Bourne Ultimatum as an action movie is one of the best ever made action movies ever made. I think, in my opinion,
true,
the Bourne Ultimatum is
true.
a spectacular action movie. Also, you know what is one of the most underrated aspects of the Bourne? The humor. As serious as the Bourne movies are, they're also very there is a certain element of humor to it where you feel like this movie is not taking itself seriously 100% serious. So there's this like witty elements, for example, Bourne looking at them with a sniper and telling them, "Oh, I can see you're dressed up in a suit, you're looking good today."
Mm,
And everyone in the cinema laughs laughing out loud. Like those little moments as well always made them very entertaining to watch. But I remember the action sequence in the Bourne Ultimatum, one of the opening action sequence in the airport, like that. Wow, that scene just your heart is just beating so fast. If they can recreate that kind of tension in this newborn movie, that would be great.
yes, yes. High,
With regard to the Jeremy Renner one, I haven't watched it. Sorry, Franco.
high pounding action. I remember one of. I think it's one of the best stunt. If there was ever an Oscar for stunt people, this one of my most persistent memories about the Bourne movies is the the bit where he jumps through the window and you see the camera following him.
Yes, yes,
That
yes, yes,
was
yes, yes.
such and it was only a 3 second shot. It's like Jesus Christ, and to go to that
I
length.
remember reading about it. I'm watching on YouTube as well a documentary on how they shot the action in Bourne and like the amount of work it took them to shoot some of the action. And although there is quite a strong element of shaky cam in it, I feel like the action more or less is always quite clear.
No,
Even the
very clear.
hand-to-hand combat is really well done. Like some of the stunt work in the hand-to-hand combat, even like the way they whatever they find, like they like use whether it's a pan, whether it's whatever they find in their hands, like using anything they find in there. So again, do we really need a newborn movie? Not really. Do I need a Bourne movie? Yes, I do need a Bourne movie. I need to right now. I'm going through that phase of my life where I really miss stuff from like the early mid 2000s, and then the Bourne is just that, right? One of the big elements of my life in the early 2000s. Another movie we don't really need, but still I would definitely go to watch in the cinema is Creed 4 because apparently Creed 4 is officially in development with Michael B. Jordan set to return to the director's chair. Had you
So,
watched Creed 4, Franco?
not a single Creed, not a single Rocky. I haven't watched. The,
That's
I need to do a marathon of Rocky. Sorry,
You
I'm not.
really need to do a marathon. Start with the Rockies, obviously. Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4. You can skip 5. There's obviously then Rocky Balboa, the 2006 one. And then get into the Creed movies. Creed 1, Franco, trust me, is one of the best sports movies ever made. Ryan Coogler,
Ryan Coogler.
stunning stuff there. Really stunning stuff there. Really stunning stuff there. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie. But yes, apparently Creed 4 is officially in development. Michael B. Jordan created obviously quite a storm as a first-time director with For Creed 3, with a stunning movie, like visually stunning. And again, I agree, exhilarating movie, maintaining the same DNA as its predecessors. Jordan took double responsibility of leading the feature on screen and behind it and knocked it out of the ring. The movie was not only a commercial success, but a critical one too, and he'll return to spread some more magic with Creed 4 in the dual role. Producer Erwin Winkler recently confirmed to Deadline Jordan will be returning to helm the fourth feature. We're planning to do Creed 4 right now, and we have a really good story, really good plot. Further mentioned that the plan saw a delay because of strike, like everybody else, but probably a year from now, we're going for pre-production. Plans for the fourth installment were in place since the success of the previous installment, and the makers are making good on those. It'll be interesting to see which trick Jordan pulls out of his hat now as a filmmaker after breathing a new life into the franchise with Creed 3. I agree that Michael B. Jordan really breathed new life into the Creed franchise, because Creed 1, directed by Ryan Coogler, was fantastic. Like, that was one of the best movies of that year. Creed 2 was still very good. Felt a little like we have Creed at home. Mom says we have Creed at home. Creed at home is Creed 2. So still good, but not as good. But Creed 3 then didn't try to recreate Creed 1. It's just a new take on Creed with different style of action, different style of even the music was different. We didn't have Ludwig Göransson returning for that. Different style. So the approach to it was very different, which I'm always happy to see franchises going for different approaches. Now, obviously, where do you go after Creed 3? Creed 3 felt like a good conclusion to the whole story. And also, there's the whole Rocky Balboa of it all. Where is Rocky in Creed? Because Rocky was mentioned, I think, once in Creed 3. So there's that element as well to it. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to hear more about what the plans are for Creed 4 and follow the development.
Rocky is doing Expendables 5, most probably. So, I should quickly kif naqbad ngħidlek, see to watch the Rocky series, including Creed. I forgot the exact phrase that you have to say in this kind of redeem my sins, redeem myself, and watch this, basically.
Definitely.
I will redeem myself. Sorry.
Redeem.
Please still subscribe. Don't stop watching, okay? Sorry, guys.
And to conclude, this is, well, I wouldn't call it breaking news, but just popped up on my feed just now. Joe isn't here, so I can geek out on this. Star Wars vet Dave Filoni is named Lucasfilm Chief Creative Officer. So the Ahsoka creator will help guide development of future projects at, oh my God, at the Disney-owned studio.
Disney.
Dave Filoni is expanding his footprint in a galaxy far, far away. The longtime Star Wars force has been named Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm in the past. And a lot of projects I would be brought into it. I would see it after it had already developed in a good ways, Filoni told Vanity Fair, which broke the news. Filoni will now be involved in the early development on Star Wars projects, working with Lucasfilm head Kathleen Kennedy and head of development Carrie Beck. The move comes as Star Wars is at an inflection point. While it has been successful on the small screen, successful in inverted commas, some were successful, some were not. Obviously, we had Andor, which was successful, Ahsoka, which I think was quite successful. The Mandalorian, obviously, seasons 1 and 2 were great. Season 3, iffy. Then, obviously, we had, Obi-Wan, which for me, viewer-wise was great, but for me, it was pretty bad. And obviously, we had, I always forget his name. I think I've talked about the series for like six, 7 times on this show, and I always forget. What was the series that followed The Mandalorian?
Boba
Fett, which for me was an absolute disaster. I tried to completely cut him off.
Says a lot. Yeah, you did actually. To the point that you forget what's his name. The Book of Boba Fett.
With regard to movies, if the last movie which has come out is Rise of Skywalker, do I really need to add anything else there? Okay, so what does this mean for Star Wars now? I think it means that, number one, Disney see Ahsoka as a success. I think that's number one. That I think is quite clear. Obviously, Dave Filoni worked on big projects that I love, like the Clone Wars and Rebels. which means that probably the direction that Star Wars will be taking will be to the more fantastical element, because Clone Wars and Rebels are a bit more fantastical than the like Rise of Skywalker, whatever that shit was. And again, obviously, also going the opposite direction to Endor, because Endor obviously is the opposite of stuff like Ahsoka and so on. Am I happy with this? I love most of the Filoni stuff. I love Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I love most of the work he did on Mandalorian. Although I know that some of the creative decisions that I dislike about the Mandalorian were not taken by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. I know that that went out of their hands. Um, so far, I haven't finished Ahsoka. I'm still watching Ahsoka with my dad, so I'm taking that slowly. But first 5 episodes I've watched, I've really liked. So far, cannot complain about that. So I personally, to be honest, I'm quite happy. Dave Filoni loves Star Wars. He is an expert of the lore. He knows what he's doing. He knows what is the limit he can push the lore without, making it a bit too goofy and a bit too like extreme. So overall, I have to be honest, I'm quite happy with this news. I think Joe probably, I don't think Joe would hate this news either. That to be honest, I think Joe loves most of what Filoni has done as well. Like he's a big fan of Rebels
The
and
Clone
of
Wars, yeah.
of the Clone Wars. So I think Joe, jokes aside, I think Joe would no, he would be quite positive as well with regard to this news. Obviously, keeping in mind that no one is perfect, right? So no one has a perfect track record. Everyone has their flop. Um, Franco, what do you think does this mean for Star Wars as a franchise and for the future of Star Wars?
I'm tired of franchises, so that's all I'm gonna say. Which is a good segue into the review of Hunger Games. Speaking of which, no, honestly, I'm give me more Andor. That's all I'm gonna say. I need something more grounded like Andor. I think no wonder there was the blackout in Glasgow because most probably Joe wouldn't want to hear your blasphemy about Last Jedi.
No, I think I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Now we'll ask Joe in the chat after. But I really do think that he wouldn't mind this news at all. I really don't think he'd mind this news at all. Dave Filoni loves Star Wars. He's passionate about it. Listen to some of his interviews, Franco. You can tell this is a really smart dude who really knows the lore, knows what the limitations are of the lore. You don't want to
No. I can.
overstretch.
I can. That's the key word. That's the key word. Overstretch. How much has the cow been milked? That's all I'm going to say. I think there's the universe as such. Why not focus, for example, like I said last time, I said, why not give a Star Wars horror or go back in time and start with the origin? It's like how
They are going to do that, Franco. The origin, they are going to do that.
Yes. Maybe
That is in the works.
that maybe piques my interest. It's like to see where it all started.
Yeah.
But again, it's like with political intrigue, it went so well, and fortunately, it's gone under the radar. Please, guys, whoever's watching right now, do watch Andor. It's nothing like it is Star Wars, but nothing like it, and it's such a great political thriller, basically. Like the time I said, I, I I was watching Loki and forgot that I was watching a Marvel thing. This is the same thing. Like I was watching Andor and I forgot I was watching a Star Wars something based in the Star Wars universe.
Definitely. So it'll be interesting to see what effect this had. I definitely think Star Wars needed like someone like a chief creative officer, like the role he's taking now, because Kathleen Kennedy, as great as a producer she is, and I know we goof a lot about like Kathleen Kennedy, and even there was the recent South Park episode about on the Panderverse about Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh no!
It's this one. Let me show it on IMDb.
No.
This episode, I wanted to talk about last week, and I completely forgot. This one, joining the Panderverse, and it goofs around a lot about like the character of Kathleen Kennedy. This was the episode. It was a very good episode, by the way. If you're a fan of South Park, check it out. This is really the way tech is like the direction that Lucasfilm has taken and Disney has taken with regard to like pandering and AI and the effect of AI on society. It does it really, really well. So we joke around a lot about all that, but I mean, Kathleen Kennedy is a fucking great producer. She is one of the greats. So what's going on right now? I think she needs someone like Filoni with her, a creative, someone who knows his Star Wars, someone who loves Star Wars, leading the helm as well. I think that will definitely help Star Wars going forward. And we need some movies. What happened to the Star Wars movies? Like nothing in the works right now. Like they are in the works, but everything is in like pre-production. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what effect this has for Star Wars moving forward. That is it with regard to news, guys. So let us know in the comment section below any of these news which have piqued your interest, any news maybe we did not mention. Let us know in the comment section below. And with that, Franco, I think we can move on to our reviews. Also, guys, everyone in the chat, don't forget to leave a like, please, if you have not done so far. Push the algorithm. Recent videos have had quite very good viewership, to be honest. We've been doing a very good job on the viewership side of things, so I'm happy with that. Hopefully, we can keep the momentum going strong.
And we're trying.
Moving on. Yes,
we're,
Franco.
we're trying to keep this at 1 hour 30 because we're called out by Bristolieta that we're 40. two guys talking about sex. No, I mean, sex in movies, yes.
No. Sex in movies, yes.
No. But yes, please appease the algorithm gods. Subscribe. Also, like, do give us a like over or a follow at Spotify as well. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mother about it. Tell your dog about it. Tell your cat about it. And now into the reviews, and we're going to start with The Crown, which
The
is
Crown.
something up Andreas Ellie. Is this also something that you say, oh, this is made for me?
Yes, definitely. Like, I am not a royalist, not even close to being a royalist, as I mean, as probably you assumed. But I love history. And the way The Crown kind of tells the history of Britain through the eyes of the monarchy, I think is second to none.
Can I say
Obviously,
quickly?
Yeah, go ahead,
I really like the poster design, Astia. How good it is!
You see that little crack over there?
How good this! I now I'm noticing the credits. So it's one of
Yeah.
brilliantly designed posters. See Marvel when you don't use AI.
Yep. And listen, The Crown, I mean, I'm going to just go out and say it. There's been some criticism. I've seen critics have been quite divided on the recent season, season 6, which is obviously also the last season. I've been seeing a lot of the creator of The Crown, Peter Morgan, said he's kind of like, phew, it's over at last. Like, obviously, The Crown has been a big success for Netflix, one of the biggest series. I think production budget at one point, it was the most expensive series ever released on television. And you can tell, right? The costumes, the set pieces, the locations, makeup, everything is top notch, top class. Like, this is quality television.
Madonna, 7 years
The
already.
actors.
I didn't know that has been going on for 7 years.
When was the first episode?
2016. It says up top.
2016, Madonna. Season 1, episode 1 was November 4, 2016. I remember watching the first episode of when it released. Like, the first episode, Franco, just watch the first episode. It is so good. And the soundtrack for it, Hans Zimmer worked on the soundtrack of season 1.
Yes,
And the soundtrack is so good. It was something to do with hunting. I forgot what it was, soundtrack, but the soundtrack is so good, so good, and such a good series. Season 1 and season 2 were peak of The Crown. Let's be honest. Season 1 and season 2. Season 1 and season 2 are the peak for The Crown. Season 3 and season 4 were still very good seasons. Don't get me wrong. Especially season 4 was one of the best seasons. I think season 3 was a weak point for the series. Season 4, very very good season as well. Obviously, the entrance of obviously Diana, the entrance of what's her name, Margaret Thatcher. Again, great performance there. Season 5, uh, insomma, insomma. Season 5, I wasn't completely convinced by it. Emma Corrin obviously being the like the best part of it. Season 6 so far, I have to say, although reactions from the critics have been quite negative, I think most viewers have been very happy with it. And I personally have enjoyed watching season 6 so far quite a lot. There are some negatives, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, I think I'm quite happy with what I've seen so far from season 6. Of course, guys, season 6 is split up into two parts. Part 1 came out on the 17th, I believe, Thursday 17th. Part 2 will be releasing later on in December, I believe 10th December, 10, 11, 12 December, something like that. Anyways, let's get into it. So, season 6, obviously, spoiler. We see, obviously, the death of Diana, which is the main focus of the first 4 episodes. We have the introduction of Tony Blair, who gets very little attention in the first few episodes. I hope that there will be more focus on Blair in the next few episodes because, like I said at the start, I think The Crown tackles like the history of Britain really well from the eyes of the monarchy, right? So there's that. Obviously, it also tackles the relationship between Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, and again, it does that very well. It creates a good juxtaposition between the relationship between Diana and Dodi and Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles. It also looks at the relationship between Charles and obviously Diana right before her death. It tackles all that, I think, quite well, very well, actually. Positives for The Crown season 6 part 1 so far. I mean, if anyone has ever seen one of my reviews of any of her movies, you'll know that I am a big, big, big Elizabeth Debicki fan. And I think she really, really, really pulls it off. I think she is a spectacular Diana. She really pulls off all the little mannerisms of Diana. She pulls off all the little nuance in her role. You can tell, for example, when she's in front of the cameras, she's smiling, but at the same time, sometimes you can see a look of almost horror behind the smile. You can see she's very nervous at times. You can tell, obviously, this is a person who was who had obviously her devils, right? Who had a lot of big issues in her life,
Andrea,
as much as she was a popular personality. Yeah.
Emma Corrin was Diana in season 5.
Yes. She
Okay,
was
okay.
young Diana, younger Diana.
Okay. Because I got confused. I know that is Elizabeth Debicki, and then I was like, Emma Corrin. Okay. So
Yeah,
anyway,
Emma Corrin was the young Diana, and again, Emma Corrin, hats off, she was amazing. But same thing for Elizabeth. Is it Debicki or Debicki? I am always confused
Deb-
which one it is.
Debicki, Da Vinci. I think it's
One of them.
Debicki, one of them. Yeah.
So when I reviewed her in Tenet, because she was, for me, she was the best performer in Tenet as well. I think I had looked it up, and I think it was Debicki.
Okay.
Now I come to think of it. So yeah, I think it's Debicki. So she is so good. She's the highlight of this show so far. I mean, her performance is spectacular. I saw an interview with her where she was questioned about how she approached the role. She said she was emotionally distraught at the end of filming the 4 episodes, and you can tell she really got into the role. She really, really got into the role. Obviously, it's The Crown, so the production design is, as always, peak. It's visually arresting. I'm going to be honest, there is one particular scene which caught my attention involving the Queen, obviously, in this case, it's Imelda Staunton, where the camera was a bit, I don't know, it was weird. It was a scene where she gives a speech. And I didn't notice it whilst I was watching the series, the episode. This was episode 4. Which was the Queen basically giving a speech after the death of Diana. But I noticed it when I saw it posted on Twitter, where they posted the real speech the Queen gave with Imelda Staunton. First of all, Imelda Staunton in season 6, because I wasn't completely convinced with her in season 5. In season 6, chef's kiss. She is so good in this role. She really, really, really pulls it off. I think Imelda Staunton, again, is probably going to be nominated for Best Actress at the Emmys for this role. Really, really good performance. But there was something a little off with the camera work for the speech. Because I noticed in the original speech, in the real speech, the lighting was so much better than in the one used for the series, which is really weird because I think it's not something quite basic. That's one thing. Secondly, I noticed that the character of Imelda Staunton, the Queen, was a little like not completely central in focus, which was weird. That really, and again, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't notice this. I binged 4 episodes of The Crown, so that's like 4 hours of The Crown. So by the end of it, I was completely burnt out. So I didn't notice it. This is basically the final scene. But when I saw it on Twitter, I was like, oh shit, that's true. What happened to the lighting in that scene? So that's a little weird thing there. But anyways, I mean, apart from that, visually, it's spectacular. I think again, the set pieces, all the costumes, everything's so well done. The hair, the makeup, all really well done. Also, I knew this was obviously going to be a very emotional season, obviously with the death of Diana. But man, episode 3 broke me. I have to say, episode 3 broke me. I was a mess at the end of episode 3, and I was a mess at the end of episode 4. Again, I'm not a royalist at all. I mean, growing up, I didn't really care about what happened to celebrities. I just cared about movies. But watching this and getting to know and obviously research, because The Crown does a really good job in making me want to look up stuff. But finding out about obviously what happened to Diana and so on, it's like, it broke me. Like emotionally, I was a mess
Wait,
after watching the episode 3 and episode 4.
You never knew how Diana died. You forgot.
No. I knew how
Okay.
Diana died. I just didn't know the nitty gritty stuff, like what was going on in the background, like the way the royal family treated her. That stuff, growing up at a young age, I didn't really care about
No,
it.
but do you remember?
I started looking it up when I grew a bit older.
But do you remember "Candle in the Wind"? Like a candle in the wind with Elton John as well. Did they play it?
Yes. I think it was mentioned. It wasn't. No, that was the ballet I'm thinking about. No, I don't think it was mentioned in The Crown.
Lallo. I mean, that was they kept on playing it here. "Candle in the Wind" by Elton John. Right?
But yeah. So one last thing I want to mention, positive wise, about the series is what a good job it does at bringing out. I at the in episode 3, I was feeling super anxious, and the reason is because obviously throughout her life, Diana was constantly haunted by paparazzi. But in the phase of her life, at like the final phase of her life, paparazzi were constantly harassing her. And the series does a really good job in making you understand what it feels like to be constantly harassed by paparazzi. At one point, Franco, I had to pause the series, and I was like, I need a breather, man. I can't take this anymore. Like, and I think that's props to Peter Morgan for the way he showcases like how it feels to be constantly harassed by paparazzi. Like, I was like, oh my god, I can't take this anymore. Like, this is horrific. And I turned to Tristian, to my girlfriend, and I was like, Tri, I don't care. I could have all the money in the world, but I wouldn't trade that for the peace that I have in being a nobody in Malta. Nobody podcaster in Malta. I wouldn't want that life even if I had all the money in the world. Like, that kind of attention, man. I don't know how my mental health would survive that. Like, it's horrific to experience. And The Crown does a really good job in portraying that. Apart from that, props to most of the cast. I think Dominic West, although again, Dominic West is a bit too handsome to be Charles. He's a fantastic actor. He really pulls it off. He's a fantastic actor. Really props also to Salim Dow and Khalid Abdallah, who are Mohammed Al Fayed and Dodi Fayed. Fantastic performances. Salim Dow has a really emotional moment at the end of episode 4 as well. And props also, like I said, to Imelda Staunton, who I think really pulls it off this season. I mean, that's it with regard to positive. Negatives, I don't have much. All I wanted to say was I think this season, compared to previous seasons, really is quite forgiving towards the royal family, which is weird to say because the crown was mostly criticized for being the opposite, very harsh and a bit too critical towards the queen. I found it weird. It felt like it was a bit too kind with its portrayal, especially of Prince Charles. Whilst obviously I mentioned that Dominic West is fantastic as Charles, I think the portrayal, whilst again a great performance, is a bit too kind
I mean,
towards Prince
at
Charles.
the end of the day, he's the king now. So
Is that part of the reason why? I don't know. So there's that, and I understand why there's so much criticism with regard to how kind of like how it's a bit too forgiving. Let's put it that way, because obviously Prince Charles, the way he treated Diana, looking at the history, is horrific, horrific. So there's that element to it, and plus, I'm not one to speak again. I'm not too big into the history of the crown, or at least I wasn't too big into the history of the crown. Now I am, because obviously because of the crown. But I've seen lots of historians mention how historically inaccurate many of the scenes are. Again, I think okay,
if you want
it's a criticism,
if you want
but
historical accuracy, watch the documentary. That's all I'm gonna say. Or else,
watch a documentary. Watch a documentary, exactly. So overall, I think I'm quite positive with regard to the Crown season 6, part 1. So far, I think it's fair enough to give a rating so far, because obviously it's split up into 2 parts. So far, I will give the Crown season 6, part 1 a 4 out of 5. I'm very pleased with what I've seen so far. I've enjoyed it quite a lot. Not as good as season 4. Season 4 was a 5 out of 5 for me, and season 1 and 2 again 5 out of 5 for me. Not as good as season 1, 2, and 4, but better than season 5, to be honest, because season 5 was still being quite decent. Not as good definitely as season 6. So overall, quite pleased. I highly recommend checking it out. Franco, our final review for today. By the way, guys, let us know in the comment section below. Have you watched The Crown so far? And if you have, let us know your thoughts so far. Have you started season 6? Let us know in the comment section below.
does the crown lay heavy on your heads, chat? Let us know in the chat below. And last but not least, we go with the prequel of the Hunger Games, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, with
Here we go.
Francis Lawrence reclaiming the helm and in the director's chair. And the story of the prequel of the Hunger Games is about Coriolanus Snow, which we saw as the dictator of Panem in the original trilogy. Coriolanus Snow mentors and develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games. The female District 12 tribute is called Lucy Gray Bird. Funny enough, Songbird Bird, and yes, she sings. That's why it's Songbird. 7.2. That's okay. Let's speak about the positives of this prequel. Great production design. I was surprised, like the clothes and how grounded everything was, and it started off strongly, like showing the horrors of the aftermath of war and the hunger, and what desperation leads to. In fact, I know it's a bit. I will admit it immediately. I know it's a bit of a contrived comparison, but I couldn't help thinking about the current conflict happening now in Israel and in the Gaza Strip, because there were some moments where like, shit, okay. This will also lead then to the negative. Rachel is that Rachel Zegler? Am I correct? Ziegler. Rachel Ziegler has the pipes. Oh, overall, great performances throughout. Viola Davis, very menacing. Peter Dinklage was also great. I loved, out of all people, Jason Schwartzman
Yes, so good.
As the
So funny.
as this night presenter. Is like he encapsulated the spectacle of it all. There's also some good intrigue, like some good political intrigue there. Now, and this leads me to the negatives. This Hunger Games. This is the 10th Hunger Games. When we reach Katniss Everdeen, I think it's the 64th Hunger Games, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think so. Yeah, 64th. Yeah.
64th Hunger Games. This is at the turning point in the Hunger Games where they started to introduce that element of spectacle. And I was discussing this with Andrea on chats. Like, I wish they leaned more into the brutality of it and the primitivity of it all. Like, maybe they did insert certain. How should I say? They should have inserted certain red lines not to be skipped in order. It looks very primitive. Like. So I would have imagined that it would have been even more violent back then than it was later on. Not that it wasn't brutal in the original trilogy, mind you, but you would imagine this was even more gruesome, so to speak. It could have leaned more into the idea of violence as spectacle, like those gladiatorial fights. It had great political intrigue. Like, it could have leaned more into that, like this idea of rebels, of again, in the politics of it all. I was annoyed a lot with the songs. Like, there was too much singing. I was thinking like I was watching Les Miserables instead of Hunger Games. Again, not. This is not shade on Rachel Ziegler's voice, which she sings fantastically, but sometimes it was pandering too much. Like, we hear the hanging trees. Like, okay, I think for example, for me, the scene where she starts singing it, they could have left it until the end. It would have had a more haunting effect than the final scenes.
They
Um,
do right at the end. There is the song at the end as well.
yes,
When Coriolanus is walking.
in
No
the in
spoilers,
the,
obviously.
in the in the forest. Yes, but that's
In the
why
forest.
that's why I said it would have given it a bit more of a haunting feeling, you know. Um, uh, what else? It felt. I do agree. It felt kind of pointless. Too long. Madonna, 2 hours 45 minutes.
Long,
Too long,
too long,
man.
too
It's
long, too long.
and
Way too long. I really felt it. And listen, I'm the guy who said
killers.
Killers of the Flower Moon, 3 hours, 30 minutes flew by. But with this, and Oppenheimer, 3 hours like flew by. But this, 2 hours, 40 minutes felt like a slog at times.
And I was also thinking about it today. The structure of the movie was a bit strange. Like, that it peaked halfway almost when they announced when the person wins, basically, and then it goes back down. Like, I was like, I'm not interested in what happens next. Even though it's essential to the story, because then
It's the most important part of the story, basically, when you think about it.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is the whole point of the movie, is to see Coriolanus Snow go from the apparently nice guy who was at the start to obviously the evil dictator we
dictator.
see at the start of the first Hunger Games.
That's what I'm saying. I think they could have leaned more into that idea of the power dynamics, how power corrupts, and it could have done a better job in doing that. Maybe they were afraid of it being too political and driving audiences away. Who knows? But again, I saw lots of potential of this being a worthwhile. It could have been even better than the trilogy, I would have said, but I think they didn't go for it. They didn't do risk much. Again, pandering a lot, like lots of songs. I mean, okay, the songs are nice, grand, but then again, it's like, please, guys, more action. There are some moments. To be fair, there are some moments which are goosebump inducing. Yeah, there are,
Yes.
like, the first time you see an execution at the hanging tree, and the guy basically shouts like, "Don't leave her alone." The Mockingjay shouts like, "Leave her alone." That is really, it was terrifying, genuinely terrifying. Great shot as well with the tree, with the leafless tree. So it had some peaks, but it gets lost with the length, and it gets lost in it's not being, like, not pushing further, not leaning into it. and to be, some people are liking it, eh? Like even like I heard from someone else that their friends liked it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. I think it's mixed reaction so far from critics. Let me have a quick look. I'm
it's
curious to see
it's
on Rotten
60
Tomatoes.
60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm more into onto the critic side. Like
So
it is,
mostly positive, mostly positive. So the majority, 63%
yeah.
on Rotten Tomato.
Like
So mostly positive. Uh-huh.
I totally disagree. Like we saw a 1-star review by The Guardian. Totally disagree with a 1-star. It's
No, no,
definitely
no. There's so much work has gone into. It's not just a question of the work that has gone into it, but the performances, the visuals, the action in during the Hunger Games is at times brutal, in my opinion, and really like heart in mouth moments. The snake scene, for example, the scene where you have one of the participants killing her mentor, like that scene was, oh
that
my
no,
god,
that
what the
was
fuck? They went there.
yeah. It needed. Funny. I know I sound like a bloodthirsty monster, but it needed more of that. It needed more of that because it is
This this is what I wanted to talk about, Franco. By the way, finish
true.
your review and then
No,
I'll
no,
mention
no.
it.
It's true. You can go for it. It's true. The endings felt a bit like that's it.
Uh-huh. Which leads me to what I think they should have done with this. And whilst I'm sure the majority of people will disagree with what I'm going to say, like my girlfriend completely disagrees with this because I discussed this with her because she's a big Hunger Games fan. Who she, by the way, she loved it. She really enjoyed it.
It's yeah okay.
Um, so watching it, I I had heard that the book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, was, according to many fans, a very difficult book to adapt into a movie. Because, as you said, Franco, this the way the story is structured, it's structured into three parts. And you have a high peak midway through. And then, like, obviously, the action completely calms down and the story slows down quite a bit before we have the ending, right? Um, and and I agree with a lot of the fans that this is a book because they were very, very loyal to the book apparently in this adaptation, as they have been with the previous Hunger Games. I think if it comes to how close they stick to a book, the Hunger Games are right up there with being the most loyal to what happens in the books. And then they did the same here. Um, in my opinion, this should have been split into two movies. In my opinion, this movie should have been part one and part two. And then I'm going to say why I think they didn't do that. So, first of all, I think it should have been part one, the opening, introduction to the character of Coriolanus, and see just small moments of him showcasing the like psychopathic dictator he's going to be. But by the end of the first movie, he's still the decent Coriolanus, and we see the whole Hunger Games, and we end with the Hunger Games. You get that peak at the end of the first movie, and we end it there. So we end it on a high. But still, what's going to happen next now? You have that kind of like that in your head. You leave thinking, oh, but now what's going to happen now that Coriolanus has been caught out, and you end it there. Boom. Second movie would then focus on the descent, Coriolanus' descent. And in that way, you can give more time to the character of Coriolanus with, by the way, with Tom Blythe with a fucking great performance. He's so good. I'm so excited to see him in future movies because that guy is a talented actor. When we see Tom Blythe's character Coriolanus, no, his descent to madness and to becoming the like evil dictator, we can see him manipulating. Then we would have more time for that development of character because, unfortunately, with the one movie, the final part, which is the well, it's the rise of Coriolanus Snow, but downfall with regard to like ethics, right?
Yeah.
From Coriolanus Snow. I think it was rushed, which is weird to say in a movie which sometimes felt a little sluggish at times. So I think that would have been the best approach to this. Split it into two. Hunger Games first part, the downfall or and rise, according to how you look at it, of Coriolanus Snow in the second movie. And you end it obviously with Coriolanus Snow being a prime position to take leadership in Panem. That would have been the way I would have approached it. Now, why they didn't do this, obviously, there were big doubts as to how much money this movie would make. So I doubt. In fact, the budget for this movie, Franco, is much lower than the second, third, and fourth Hunger Games movies.
Yeah.
It's at around 100 million budget.
Ah,
So they really took care of the budget.
but
It doesn't show.
it doesn't show. To be honest, there was a bit when the terror attack happens at the Hunger Games arena did show a bit, but otherwise like there's great world building, like it didn't show.
The snakes, oh my god, the snakes look so good. The colors.
Yeah,
The
the
snakes.
rainbow,
I really like the snakes.
rainbow of destruction.
Rainbow of destruction.
And another
Very quotable as well.
yes,
right,
yes,
Franco?
tuberculosis on legs. Sorry.
Ah, man, I laughed so much. I spent like 5 minutes. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yes.
Me and the guy behind me, we're just chuckling for 5 minutes. I couldn't stop.
But
And
to be
he's so good, Jason Schwartzman.
and again, to be honest, but that undercuts a bit the seriousness of it all. Like people are dying. You don't it's a black humor, of course, but it's gallows humor. But you shouldn't be spending 5 minutes laughing while the rest of the people are dying. You know.
But I think it's the whole point of it, no? That you've got obviously the spectacle and the brutality of it all, where we are seeing it. Sometimes we're seeing it from the point of view of the spectacle and as a TV show. But then obviously when we're transported to the actual arena, where we see the brutality of it all and the horrific effects it has on the participants, like that is something, for example, I think they should have gone more into as well.
No, it's like one of the positives as well. Like it's interesting that it was Snow himself that he introduced this sort of reform in the Hunger Games, you know, and to the point that even like what at the end of the day, the Academy even was like, let her, with them chanting, "Let her go." Yeah, that was very rousing as well. So
yes. And the song, I know you didn't like the singing that much, but the song in that scene with the snakes and that's so good, Franco. Yeah,
no,
I
no,
love that. That gave me goosebumps.
No, it felt I don't know, it felt so forced. That was one moment. It felt so forced. I mean, it's subjective. It's like
مشاك.
most people might like it. It's like it's somehow this. If you're a musical fan, do go watch this movie. I'm not joking, like, because there's some really good songs, but for me it's like don't stick to one tone. Either you want a musical, Les Mis, or
the thing is, it's an important part of the character. Like they couldn't change that part. And apparently there were even more songs in the book.
Yes. Someone said, and granted, like singing is also a form of rebellion. So in a sense, if they made that a bit more clear, yes, I would. It's because the singing felt a bit like put on. There wasn't enough push of it's like like a fuck you towards the dictatorship, basically.
Because that's what I thought it was going to be. But watching it, I noticed it's more the character of Lucy Gray obviously surviving. That was what she's trying to do.
Yes,
survive.
yes. Like it made sense when you go and see them in the hub where they're dancing. It's like districts where there's one way of surviving. It makes lots of sense, but it should have been given a bit more like context of it, before like she goes into singing. It's like I would have said, okay, she's gone off the rails, almost.
And to conclude, I saw this comment on Twitter, and it was interesting that this movie, Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, creates an interesting juxtaposition between the character of Katniss, who was a hunter but is forced to become a performer, and the character of Lucy Gray, who is a performer
forced to become
a hunter. So there's like this contrast between the two characters is interesting, that was an interesting comment I read on Twitter. So yeah, there's that. In conclusion, Franco, would you recommend The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
Definitely not a 1 out of 5 movie for sure. So fuck you, Guardian. It is a 3 out of 5 movie. Some people will like it. And Andrea, I think you liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it a bit more. Coming out of the cinema, I was like, oh, I really liked it. I felt it was too long, even coming out of the cinema. Thinking a bit more about it, I started to think about more like, more negatives to it. So, for example, like I said, the structure of the story, I agree with you. It's an unfortunate reality of adapting a book. Sometimes the structure of the book doesn't help you. But then that's why Denis Villeneuve is such a great director, because the way he adapted Dune, right, which is what was it? What was Dune called? The
Unfilmable.
unfilmable book.
Mm.
And I mean, apparently it is, because obviously Denis Villeneuve is one of the best directors
By the
out
way,
there. Don't get me wrong.
look at the
Um,
look at the game trailer as well. Huh? There was the game trailer of Dune.
Ooh, okay, we'll do. Don't get me wrong. By the way, Francis Lawrence is a great director. I mean, he made, again, one of the best franchise movies, in my opinion, Hunger Games 2, which is Catching Fire, which is his first. Hunger Games is one of the best franchise movies ever made, in my opinion. That is bloody great. He made I Am Legend, which, whilst not being the best movie ever made, again, is, I think, a good
Solid.
post-apocalyptic movie. Constantine, which
I have,
I am a big fan of
I have,
Constantine.
I was surprised. I have a soft spot for Constantine, and
Me too.
and then I saw the rating, and it was like, really 38%, or maybe
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic movie. I'm a big fan of
I
that movie.
liked it.
And visually, it's spectacular. Obviously, keep it in context and when it was released. So I really like. You know what? I haven't watched from him. Red Sparrow. Have you watched Red Sparrow?
No, I haven't watched this spell. So,
Starring Jennifer Lawrence. Reviews are not great. It's a 44% tomato meter. What's this?
no, I know which
Um,
one it is, but again, because of the reviews, like,
That's it. I think I've watched everything else from him. I mean, so again, he's a great director. He's a very talented director, and you can tell, like, visually, he does very good stuff. And with the budget he had, he made the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes look fantastic.
if I'm not
Really good.
if I'm not mistaken, I think he also directed music videos for Britney Spears. Let me check about this. To be honest,
Could be. I mean, again, he looks like a great visual director, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So you gave it a 3 out of 5, right, Franco?
yeah, 3 out of 5. It's
I'll,
decent. There's lots of potential there, but it could have leaned more into the meat of it, basically.
I think I'm a bit more positive. I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. I had a very good time watching it. It did feel like a bit of a slog at times, but overall, again, I had a very good time watching it. So I really enjoyed watching the Hunger Games
But
prequel movie.
quick trivia that Francis Lawrence directed music videos for Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, I'm a Slave for You, and also Shakira, Whenever, amongst other music videos. He's got quite music videography here.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Run
All right, Franco.
the World, Beyonce. That's actually a really good music video. All right.
All right. I think we can conclude it here, Franco. Good, solid 1 hour, 50-minute episode. So let us know, guys, in the comment section below. Have you watched The Crown? Have you watched Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Let us know in the comment section below. I am super excited for next week's episode. Now, Franco, we have Napoleon coming up.
Napoleon,
You're going to watch it on Wednesday. I'm going to watch it on Friday.
Hopefully, maybe I might be joining you, depending on if there's seats tomorrow available. And yeah,
I'm not going on Wednesday. I'm going on Friday.
Yes, I might be going on. If tomorrow we wouldn't be able to go in, I might have to be joining you guys
All right,
on Friday.
okay.
And yeah, we should be having also a very special guest who worked on the set of Napoleon.
Looking forward to hosting. Shall we spoil it, Franco?
Sandra De Gaetano. She was a makeup artist on Napoleon. So tune in for the next one. I think she's an explosion of energy. She also works on Son of God, which is going to be shown at Eden. But our main sponsor is Embassy. So do go support Embassy because they support us. And you might also catch us there, either watching Thanksgiving or Napoleon. But for sure, Thanksgiving. Let's go.
And Wish.
I wish I didn't see the reviews of Wish, but okay. Anyway,
Not very
and
positive, huh?
that's one thing. And we do wish, however, a good night to our listeners and watchers. Leave us a comment, leave us a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Follow us on Spotify as well, and that's it. Oh, here's
Some audience score is positive, but that's fewer than 50 verified ratings. The critics. Oof,
I saw
interesting.
Andrea after we finish the episode. Go watch a comparison of Moana and Wish.
Ooh, okay. All right. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. I think I'm gonna go watch Godzilla now. Oh, actually, I should watch
Ooh.
Kong first, right? Kong should come first, and then Godzilla after that.
No,
I should watch it chronologically.
Godzilla first, and then
But historically, Kong takes place first, and
and
then
according
Kong,
to the
and then
universe.
exactly.
Okay,
Not when they were released.
Okay, yes,
Like chronologically, like time period.
yes, Kong Skull
So I
Island.
watch Kong first, and then Godzilla, because I think I'm missing that context from Monarch, and I think I'll enjoy it much more then after that. All right, guys, we can end it here. Thank you so much, Franco, as always.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
to all our
Andrea.
viewers and listeners. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, appease the algorithm.